Greetings, hunters. This is a special announcement that has been ordered by the High Druid herself due to a developing and worrying situation. Please remember to subscribe as to not miss any future announcements. You may have noticed within the comments of the instructional videos messages left by one The Night Guy 4743. This individual is not human, and instead is a powerful fey being known as a she. The hunter who initially registered the username, The Night Guy 4743, was found within his residence yesterday. He had been flayed alive, his skin was then stitched into a three-piece suit and then placed back onto his body. From the first appearances of the messages and the rate of decay, we can infer that the original The Night Guy was killed sometime before the 8th of June. Since that date, the fey being posing as the Night Guy has been routinely leaving messages that it finds humorous. We at the Order have been poring over these messages both to identify the being and to possibly locate it, though for the latter we've had little success and have been told to halt any further investigations by the High Druid for reasons that will become clear. A she is an extremely powerful fey being, similar to a hag, though not as restrained and rather a bit more manic. Considered a god entity, able to warp the larger reality to their will, we are lucky that their full being is not able to actually breach into our sphere. Instead, what can come through are slithers of the greater being that once within our sphere take on a consciousness all their own. While severely diminished when compared to the original being, in the case of the she, they are still devastatingly powerful. Depending on the size of the piece of the greater whole that breaches, the she can vary greatly in size, being on the scale of titans to the size of a pixie. Once within our sphere, they will begin establishing realms for themselves. Using their diminished, though still powerful ability to warp reality, they are able to create pocket dimensions. These realities can be as large as continents in size and will usually contain a single biome, mimicking their original realm within the fey sphere, such as mountainous or grasslands. These pocket realities do not take up space within our world. Instead, the she will leave doorways to these realities in certain locations, such as burial mounds and at the bottom of wells. Though clever and destructive, the she's ability to do damage is curtailed by their more childish nature, though this should not diminish the level of threat they pose. The she revel in experience, loving travel, debate, and what they would describe as jokes. These jokes, such as what was done to the original The Night Guy, are often convoluted and bloody in nature, with the target of the joke almost never surviving, and if they do, they wish they didn't. Interestingly, we do not believe that this is done out of any actual malice, as the she, like all from their sphere, are operating from the rules of their sphere. A place where death is an inconvenience at worst, and pain is a novel experience. The problem is that to many from the fey sphere, with some exceptions, it is impossible for them to perceive the world any differently, just as it would be impossible for someone from a two-dimensional world to comprehend a three-dimensional space. The she will also, like the hag, form deals with mundane humans. The difference, however, is that unlike the hag, the deal is never for the purposes of an overarching goal. Instead, the she will create pacts simply to watch the resulting ripples they create throughout time. Their deals will not typically come with any obvious downsides, as their goal, if you can call it a goal, is to watch as one simple action, for them, creates a cascade effect over a long period of time for hundreds and then thousands of people. They do this simply for the entertainment, in the same way one would set up a line of dominoes to watch them fall. We do know that she have an aversion to fire, though sadly not for any inherent weakness to it, and instead as they, like many fey, dislike the destruction of life in a way where natural decay cannot take place. The she in question today is known as Anddra. Anddra has a long and, by our standards, bloody past, and he has been within our sphere for some time. We have, through extensive research, managed to find some of the events he has been directly responsible for. We will start with the earliest mention of Anddra, though he has most likely been within our sphere far longer. Firstly, shortly after the Roman retreat and the abandoning of Britain, those left behind were scrambling to construct some kind of organisation to replace what had been taken away. Anddra, feeling that Britain was now a little too empty and a bit boring, decided he would remedy the issue by, in the guise of an elderly man, informing the Saxon tribes of an island that would be perfect for their people to settle. This act would cause the deaths of tens of thousands of people. Secondly, the next documented sighting of Anddra is in 757 AD, where he appeared to King Offa of Mercia as a sage. Specifically, he claimed that he, with Offa's aid, could construct a great earthen wall between the Kingdom of Powys in what is now modern-day Wales and the Kingdom of Mercia, which took up much of modern-day England, that would be enchanted to prevent the flow of these strange fey beings that were drifting over the border. Offa saw this as a twofold opportunity, as if it did stop the Fae, that would be beneficial, but it would also act as a border wall against the displaced Celtic people that had been corralled within Wales at Sword Point 300 years ago. The wall was built, and Anddra spoke true. It did stop Fae from crossing over it, one way. The opposite way Offa would have preferred. The Fae could cross into England, but not back into Wales. Thirdly, Anddra appeared again within England, this time in 1066 at the Battle of Hastings. From what can be discerned, he was there simply to enjoy the sight of the battle. However, while walking through Harold Godwinson's camp the night before, Anddra witnessed Harold shouting angrily at his young page for misplacing Harold's quiver of arrows. Anddra felt that this was quite unfair, so he charmed the arrows so that they would always fall within Harold's line of sight. During the battle, with Harold's army holding atop a hill with a shield wall, an archer within the opposing army of William the Bastard, having fired all the arrows within his quiver, began picking up the arrows of Harold's army that had been fired at them earlier. One of the many arrows the archer lifted from the ground and fired happened to belong to Harold. The arrow remained within Harold's sight, right up until the point where it was in his skull. There are many more examples of Anndra's activity throughout our history, though I believe these give a good enough example. In more modern times, we can see that Anddra, like other Sidhe, enjoyed to travel far and wide, with him even being sighted as far away as Tibet, though he appears not to get directly involved, only observing when in places that are too disconnected from the Celtic people. Beyond his holidays, he appears to maintain a wide network of contracts, though any he discloses openly should be taken with a mountain of salt. We believe, from my conversations with Anddra, that in some way he is connected with the Ratasapians, though in what way we are unsure, as he appears to have a strong dislike for them. As to what can be done, that is the difficult part. Due to the innate power of a Sidhe, our usual course of action is to make a deal with a hag, with the payment being the eternal suffering of the one that makes the deal. However, usually doesn't really apply, as Sidhe are extremely rare, with Anddra being the only one confirmed within our sphere at current. The High Druid has decided that the best course of action is to place Anddra in the same category as Thrai Goch, which is essentially placation until a more permanent solution can be devised. Thankfully, due to the nature of the Sidhe, Anddra will most likely find the idea that we are actively working on a way of eliminating him as a fun challenge and not an actual threat. Most likely appearing so we can make our attempts, and then horrifically mutilating those around if we fail, while giggling. In the meantime, it is important to debate Anddra, as like all he enjoys a verbal spar. Along with this, a decent sense of humour will go a long way to placate him. If you are able to curtail his more violent aspects through your words, all the better. But that will be all for today. The next instructional video will be released on the 23rd of June. I look forward to seeing you all then.